Good afternoon. Let's get started. My name is Raj Ichambadi. I have the honor of serving as the president at Illinois Tech. And I want to welcome all of you for this wonderful event honoring Nancy Kim as the Michael Paul Galvin Chair in Entrepreneurship and Applied Legal Technology. Before I get started, I want to acknowledge certain university leaders who are here, and Ernie Eiseminger, I see him here, Yusha Gilmore, John Bilson, I saw John, okay, John, Reed Kroloff, he wanted me to say the great Dean of Architecture, so thank you, Reed, Mariam Saleh, thank you, and Hal Krent. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you to all of you for being here. Thanks to all our distinguished guests. One of the great honors of being a university administrator, be it dean, provost, or the president, is participation in an investiture ceremony like this. And at the end of the day, the university is a talent studio comprised of outstanding faculty and staff, and our job is actually to develop impactful students. And you can't get anywhere unless otherwise you have great faculty. And as your booklet says, the strength of a great university resides in a faculty. And so it's terrific, and endowed professorships actually enable us to attract the most outstanding talent. And we are blessed to have Nancy Kim here with us today in order to fulfill the intellectual creation and the dissemination missions. One of my friends told me recently about gifts made by alums in order to endow professorships. And he said, what you see is a virtuous loop within a university. Here we have Michael Paul Galvin, a Chicago, Kent law graduate from 1978 who has gone on to do amazing things in his professional life. But he credits the legal education he received here as being highly instrumental in becoming an impactful leader. He pays forward with a transformative gift, including this endowed professorship, and that has enabled us to hire this impactful professor. And one of the things that I want to highlight is gifts like these are what enable us to continue to being an opportunity engine so that we can hire the best and brightest, be it faculty, staff, and students. And may this cycle long continue. I want to congratulate Nancy Kim, an outstanding scholar and teacher with a forward-looking approach to legal issues. Actually, she exemplifies the modern Illinois Tech in terms of having a cross-disciplinary and a comprehensive approach needed to solve the grand challenges of our times. Nancy, this honor, a very well-deserved honor, is a testament not only to your past accomplishments, but also an acknowledgement of the future possibilities in terms of reimagining education and empowering our students to be 21st century leaders. So thank you for being here. We look forward to collaborative opportunities with you. Now I'm moving on to the donor, the philanthropist par excellence for us at Illinois Tech, Michael Paul Galvin. I had a conversation with him this morning. Unfortunately, he couldn't join us in person. But Nancy, he wanted me to tell you that he is very crestfallen at missing this in-person event, but he looks forward to seeing you in person soon and congratulating you and felicitating you and your family on this well-deserved honor. So he looks forward to that. And I want to, just in your booklet, it talks about what Mike Galvin means to us. You all know he's the chairman of the board, probably one of the most impactful chairpersons around the country. And as one of the most prolific philanthropists in Illinois Tech history, Mike has supported countless strategic priorities and initiatives for the university. He helped establish the Robert Galvin Center for Electricity Innovation, has given extensively to scholarships across the university, including the Michael Paul Galvin Endowed Scholarship and the Elizabeth and Michael Galvin Endowed Scholarship, and most recently, the Michael Paul Galvin Chair in Entrepreneurship and Applied Legal Technology. So I thanked Chairman Galvin this morning because I told him philanthropy is extraordinarily important for the robust health and vitality of a university, and this gift on his part reflects his confidence in Illinois Tech and a success for our commitment to his, and he wanted me to tell the audience that this gift is an affirmation of the important and central role the law school plays in Illinois Tech's collaborative and educational ecosystem. So it gives me great pleasure in welcoming Nancy Kim to our community, and I want to open it up for the video of Mike Galvin. Thank you.
Thank you, Raj. I am so very sorry to you, Nancy, and all of your friends and family that made the effort to participate in this investiture, because I really wanted to be there, but unfortunately that four-letter word work intervened and I just couldn't be in two places at one time. But I just wanted to congratulate you from the bottom of my heart, Nancy, being the first inaugural chair of the Michael Paul Galvin Chair in Entrepreneurship and Applied Legal Technology, because this is a first for our university, a chair that we hope will be replicated over time, because the reason why Anita, our law school dean, and I talked about this and framed the scope of your professorship was that we wanted to make sure that all of our Chicago Tech alumni have computational literacy in technology, but not just technology as it applies to the practice law, but how technology is changing society, the society in which they are going to practice law, our alumni. And we also wanted to make sure that the law school was teaching our lawyers to be entrepreneurs in the law and in society. And in that connection, we wanted somebody that was devoting their time to helping the law school plug and play into Illinois Tech's other programs in entrepreneurship at the Kaplan Institute in particular, among our other iPro experiential learning initiatives. So, Nancy, we're so excited for you, not just because you're going to do a great job in this chair position, but because you're going to set the example for the rest of the university as to how other chairs like this will help to break out of the silos of our various colleges within the university and to do great things to make our students even more successful in the future. So have a great celebration. Thank you very much for stepping up and leading in this regard. Ever the best to you and your family on this momentous day. Thank you so much.
I want to let you know a couple of things. In recognition of Mike's contributions to the university, I should say transformative contributions to the university, the Illinois Tech Tower is being renamed the Michael Paul Galvin Tower. And we are going to have various events on Thursday, October 28th. So please grace us with your presence so that we can truly tell Mike in person what a champion he has been and what he truly means to the university. So I want us to take a moment to applaud Mike for all his contributions to the university. I also heard from Ernie, who knows everything in the world, by the way. If you need anything, call Ernie. That Mike Galvin, by the way, that is true, Nancy. What I told you is absolutely true. A lot of you use Google, I use Ernie. But I also heard that Mike is having lunch with you on Friday, so this is fantastic. And now it is my job to introduce Provost Kilpatrick, who actually needs no introduction. Phenomenal scholar and accomplished teacher in the domain of chemical engineering. We are blessed to have Provost Kilpatrick here for the past 4 years. Prior to this, he had a very illustrious career as Dean of Engineering at Notre Dame. I've known Peter for about 10 weeks now, and there are 3 things that I want to acknowledge here. One, he's an extraordinarily tireless champion of our vision, believes very strongly in diversity, equity, and belonging. Point number 2, extraordinary ally of the various colleges and the academic enterprise. And last but not the least, Peter is a forward-looking leader who is thinking about utilizing education, especially in the sphere of cross-disciplinary education, to solve the grand challenges of our time. So it's my pleasure to introduce Peter Kilpatrick. Thank you.
At first he said it was his job to do that, and then he said it was his pleasure. So I'm not quite sure which it is, but
My job is my pleasure.
so I was asked to make 2 remarks or sets of remarks. One about the importance of endowed chairs and faculty to the university, and really Raj and Mike did a great job of that in their remarks. But let me just punctuate a few points that they made. I think it's very challenging to have a great university without great faculty. And your greatest faculty are the ones that you recruit and I would say retain with reward and recognition. And I know when I work with the deans, I'm always asking them, who do we need to retain? Who do we need to reward? Who can we recruit? And I feel like I have great partners in my deans, and I'm very blessed with them. And I feel like we've done a reasonably good job over the last few years in very difficult circumstances. The second thing I was asked to do is introduce Anita, who was the very first dean I hired here at Illinois Tech. And I have to tell you, it's very easy for me to talk about Anita because I have such incredibly high regard for her. First of all, she's an immense scholar in her area, which is securities law. And I went back and I did a little homework on her publication record, and I saw that she was actually publishing in the Harvard Law Review when she was a law school student there. And she's continued to be an incredibly active publisher in her area. Secondly, she's a great administrator. So not only was she the interim dean of the University of Washington Law School, she was the vice chancellor of academic affairs at the University of Washington Bothell campus. And so she had my role at the University of Washington at Bothell. And then I discovered, and I didn't know this before, that before she went into the academy, she was a partner at a law firm in San Francisco, which became Arnold & Porter, which is one of the most prestigious law firms in the country. And she was a partner there. So I have found Anita repeatedly to be just a fantastic partner in leading the university and leading the academy. She served on countless special task forces and committees for me. I always find her counsel to be incredibly well received and important and valuable to me. And so it's just a real pleasure and an honor for me to introduce Anita Krug and to have her introduce our Endowed Chair recipient. Anita?
Thank you so much, Peter, for those very kind words. And as I hope is evident, I'm very happy to be here. I love what I do and greatly enjoy working with you. The Michael Paul Galvin Chair in Entrepreneurship and Applied Legal Technology is incredibly important for this university, I believe. As far as I know, and I think this is right, it is the first endowed chair at Illinois Tech that includes interdisciplinary work, including, in this case, working with the Kaplan Institute as a component of what the holder does. And interdisciplinary education and interdisciplinary scholarship is really the future of the academy. And I'm so glad this university knows that. And thank you so much to Mike Galvin for his collaboration with me in conceptualizing the Galvin Chair and for his incredibly generous gift that made it a reality in really just a period of a few months. The Galvin Chair is just one more aspect of Mike's truly amazing support for and commitment to this university and its future. And Professor Nancy Kim is the perfect person to assume the role of the inaugural Galvin Chair. Professor Kim is an expert on contracts and the legal issues associated with technology, and the author of a number of important books, articles, and other works on contracts and consent. And she has been cited far and wide by federal courts, legal treatises, in media outlets, on and on and on. She received her BA degree, Phi Beta Kappa, from the University of California, Berkeley, and received her law degree from UC Berkeley School of Law, where she was an editor of the California Law Review. She then did an LLM at UCLA School of Law, where she was a Ford Foundation Fellow. Prior to joining Chicago Kent, she was the Pro Flowers Distinguished Professor of Internet Studies and Professor of Law at California Western School of Law, and she was also a visiting professor at the Rady School of Management at UC San Diego. Finally, she is, or not finally, but the last thing I will say in terms of her bio, she is an elected member of the American Law Institute, very prestigious, and is a former chair of the I'm not sure, related consumer law. Something's missing there, I think, but. AALS. Okay, AALS section on contracts. Yeah, okay, section on contracts and the section on commercial and related consumer law, and a former chair of the ABA subcommittee on commercial and consumer contracts. More or less, that's what you worked. And so Professor Kim's work in the realms of innovation and intellectual property and her expertise in contract law and entrepreneurship come together. They're just simply an incredible combination, I believe, that will position her in the role of Galvin Chair to make an important impact on Chicago Kent, on Illinois Tech, and as they both pursue interdisciplinary collaboration supporting student and faculty entrepreneurship. You really are the perfect person for what this position was designed to do. And she has simply gotten off to a running start, presently working with Executive Director Miriam Saleh and Academic Director Mahesh Krishnamurthy of the Kaplan Institute to develop new programming on entrepreneurship for upper-level students as well as graduate students, including, I am very pleased to say, law students. So we will await that course and everything you're doing at the Kaplan Institute very eagerly. And I believe, and I think this echoes what others have said, that her work will be a valued role model for additional endowed chairs aiming to bring the universities, colleges, and departments together, kind of that de-siloization, to address the challenges of today's society. And that is just so important and so exciting. And I'm glad we're kicking it all off and celebrating that event tonight. So thank you for being here. And now I would like to invite Provost Kilpatrick to the center of the stage, as well as Professor Nancy Kim, and I will bring the medallion over. And now I think, Nancy, it's time for you to come to the podium. Yes, I'd like to invite you to say a few words. Congratulations.
Wow, this is really an honor to be the inaugural Michael Paul Galvin Chair in Entrepreneurship and Applied Legal Technology. Thank you very much. I'm absolutely thrilled to be here at Chicago Kent and Illinois Tech at this world-class institution with its top-notch faculty. It's really an amazing opportunity. Illinois Tech is in a very unique position. There's a great opportunity here for us. It's the only tech-focused university with its own law school. That puts us in a really great situation. Chicago Kent is an integral part of the interdisciplinary initiatives contemplated by Illinois Tech. And given the way that technology is ubiquitous, the Chicago Kent is ideally positioned to address the numerous legal issues that arise from the development and the deployment of new technologies, whether it's in the commercial sphere or whether it's in the way it's used in the criminal justice system, whether it's issues such as the use of facial surveillance in constitutional law, or whether it's the many privacy implications that arise with each new release by Facebook. Okay. So it's really a very unique opportunity presented before us. And we can, as one institution, as one university, both develop new technologies and have a front row seat to address the social, the economic, and the environmental issues and impacts that arise from technological innovation. I'm just thrilled by the potential. There's just so much potential here. And I'm excited to be at such a forward-looking institution with leadership that is so visionary and inspirational. I think this is such an amazing opportunity. I want to thank a few people. I want to thank my family, first of all, Seth Burns and Mina, for being here and always providing me with such love and support. I want to thank Sean Scott, my mentor, Dean Sean Scott, my mentor and good friend, for advice and your friendship. I really appreciate it. It's meant a lot to me. I want to thank the Chrissy Brown and Tony Pacheco and everyone else and alumni and donors who put together this wonderful ceremony and your respective teams. I want to thank, of course, Dean Anita Krug for her amazing leadership. I think Peter said very well how honored we are to have her as our leader here. I think that Chicago Kent is very fortunate to have her, and I really appreciate all the support that she's given me in even the short time that I've been here. I would like to thank, of course, Provost Peter Kilpatrick, President Raji Chambadi, and of course, I look forward to working with your offices and with you on these initiatives. In my role as the Galvin Chair, I will be working closely with Miriam Silly on at the Kaplan, the Executive Director of the Kaplan Institute, on various interdisciplinary initiatives. And I think there's a lot of great ideas that we have as far as how to break down some of those silos that we've been talking about. Of course, I would like to thank Mike Galvin. He's done so much for Illinois Tech and for Chicago Kent. And when I thank him, I thank him on behalf of all of us for all that he's done for the university, for his dedication to the law school, for his generosity, and for his vision. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Nancy. And now I would like to introduce Sean Scott, Dean and President of California Western School of Law, who we're very pleased to have with us today. Prior to becoming President and Dean of California Western in 2020, Dean Scott was Senior Associate Dean and Associate Dean for Faculty at Loyola Marymount Law, where she implemented a number of educational programs and received the Student Bar Association's Excellence in Teaching Award and Black Law Students Association's Distinguished Faculty Award. She currently serves on the Board of Governors of the Society of American Law Teachers and is a past member of the Board of Directors of the California Women's Law Center. Before joining academia, she was an associate in the LA office of Manat, Phelps & Phillip, LLP. She earned her JD degree from NYU School of Law and her BA from Smith College. And again, we are very pleased to have you, Dean Scott. I'd love you to join me at the podium, and please join me in welcoming Dean Scott.
You know, I feel for my faculty, sitting here trying to teach in a mask. It's tough. So thank you for having me come. I'm really delighted to be here, even though I have joy and sadness in my heart. Nancy and I have known each other for a number of years. So we both teach contracts. And we crossed paths initially at one of the kind of premier international contracts conference. Contracts and commercial law is an area that's heavily male-dominated. And so when the few of us women folk in the room saw each other in the room, we immediately gravitated toward each other and said, "What are you doing for dinner?" And so we have known each other from that context and then throughout our careers. And of course, when I accepted the deanship at California Western, I was excited at the thought of joining her there. So one of the first things that I have learned in this year of being a dean is that when a faculty member calls and said, "So, when you have a moment, can you give me a call?" They're not calling to see how I'm feeling, right? It really bodes well for a dean. And that was certainly the case when I spoke with Nancy and she told me that she was leaving. So the news was really bittersweet for me. As a law school, we treasure those faculty whose work truly compels us to see the world differently. Nancy's work at the intersection of contracts and technology gives us an extraordinarily powerful lens with which to see the evolution of our society, to think critically about it, to ask probing and profound questions about who we are, who should we be. She's identified some of the areas where I think are just completely fascinating, right, at this intersection of law and justice and technology. And as a dean, you know, we see these issues all the time. So in California, as we have been, and in many jurisdictions, as we have been in this remote context, we know that the remote proctoring software does not detect brown faces. And so as students were trying to sit for their bar exam, they could not access the exam because the software did not register them. The algorithm didn't recognize them. We know that in many jurisdictions, criminal courts are using algorithms for sentencing purposes. The danger, of course, with thinking about technology is that we often think that it is neutral and objective. And of course, it's not. Right? There are biases built into those algorithms. Talking about that, exposing those biases, asking what we should do, what is the role of law as we think about the advancement of these technologies is just vitally important to issues of justice and who we are as a community. So the work that Nancy is doing is just critically important. We are poorer at California Western without her presence. It's also sad for me personally because I lose the close connection with a sister traveler and colleague and friend. It's also a sweet moment, though, because she's so deserving of this honor, and I can't help but be overjoyed for her as a colleague, and honestly, even as a dean who has lost such an extraordinarily valuable member of my faculty. Because if I'm being honest, there are few things as satisfying as seeing a colleague thrive. I would be less of a dean if at the end of every day, what I want is what's best for my faculty, what's best for my students, what's best for my staff. And I can't help but acknowledge that this is a terrific opportunity for you. It pleases me to see you get the recognition that you so richly deserve. Treat her well. You are lucky to have her. I have her phone number. We will all benefit as a community from the wonderful work that you are giving her the opportunity to do. So thank you, and thank you for having me.
Everyone, my name is Karen Klein. I am a proud 95 grad of Chicago, Kent, and I'd like to welcome everybody to the Convisor Center today. I have the pleasure of being the head of the Board of Advisors of Chicago, Kent, and I also sit on the Board of Trustees of Illinois Tech. For a number of years, those of us on the Board of Advisors, even before I joined the Board of Trustees of Illinois Tech, have been wondering and sort of pleading in some instances and making a lot of noise about there should be more collaboration between Illinois Tech and Chicago Kent. We've long said that the intersection of technology and the law was one that needed to be exploited here at Illinois Tech because we have that capability. And with the launch of the Kaplan Center several years ago, many of us stood there together in a group who sit on both boards and said, this is our chance, this is when we will start to get everything working together between the two, and the great opportunities that there would be for students, for faculty, and for the Chicago community as a whole of that ability. And it's something I've discussed with Miriam as well, and now I could not be more thrilled that Mike, as part of his ongoing dedication and contribution not only of donations, but his time, his talent to this university, has seen it fit to endow this chair and to choose Nancy along with the university as this inaugural chair. The ability to take the resources and the academic thought from both of these institutions and combine them into something that helps our students in our community really thrive is something that I have a personal feeling for. I have spent most of my career in technology, and I'm actually rounding out my career, and I say that, and I know Susan Lewis is out there laughing because I have said I am rounding out my career 3 times now, and I just keep going somewhere else, but I really mean it this time, Susan, and I am at a legal tech company. So I work at Relativity. We are a legal tech company. We are a Chicago-based tech company who employs many engineers from Illinois Tech, and as of last week, three Chicago Kent grads, although the last one is about to be a grad. He is working currently as a paralegal and working for us. One of them actually created a product at our company. He is a lawyer who studied at Chicago Kent, who had an interest in intellectual property, and he looked around this legal technology company where he works, and he said, we have a great platform. We could extend it to doing something that helps people search more efficiently for patents. And he pitched the idea to the company, and he spent the better part of the last 2 years working with the business to create a product that is a legal technology product, but based on his intellectual property knowledge that he gained here at Chicago Kent. They could have really used a class in entrepreneurship as part of law school, because building a product, both with the engineers and with a lawyer, and then trying to commercialize that product is where the magic really happens. And they were able to do that, and Evan would contribute that greatly to his time here at Chicago Kent. And as a lawyer who oversees a lawyer who was an entrepreneur as part of a legal tech company, I can say that this role is needed, that the opportunity truly is great, and that I couldn't be more thrilled for it. I would like to say a few words about Mike Galvin. I've worked with him now on both here at Chicago Kent and at Illinois Tech. And truly, the number of people I can count on one hand who I truly believe not only donate money, but who put their time and their talent into being as passionate about a university as Mike is about this one, are just fewer between. This is a passion of mine. Education is where I've decided to put my philanthropic time. And I think that the quote that I'm going to share is one that has become sort of the guiding one for me, and I think exemplifies Mike. When you've worked hard and done well and walked through that doorway of opportunity, you do not slam it shut behind you. You reach back and you give other folks the same chances that helped you succeed. That was said by Michelle Obama. And I would say that if there is nothing that I could say about Mike and all of his accomplishments, it is that he reaches back and he continues to do so with this university. And I think this chair is the culmination of many things that are good, not only for the students, the faculty, the university, but the technology community as a whole. So with that, I would like to congratulate Professor Kim on this endowed chair. Thank all of you for coming today. I would invite all of you to go to the 10th floor for the reception that will wrap up our festivities today, where we can chat for a bit. And I would ask the participants to please stay here. We'll do some photos and we'll join everybody on the 10th floor. Thank you everyone for coming.